The airport buzzed with the sounds of rolling suitcases, muffled announcements, and the occasional frustrated sigh. The security line stretched endlessly, a sluggish snake of weary travelers inching forward. Emily shifted her weight from foot to foot, clutching her boarding pass and checking the time on her phone. She still had time, but barely. The line wasn't helping. A man ahead groaned audibly. "This is ridiculous," he muttered. Emily silently agreed. That was when she saw her. A woman, maybe mid-50s, impeccably dressed in a designer tracksuit, oversized sunglasses perched atop her heavily styled blonde bob. She carried a monogrammed handbag big enough to smuggle a small child, and a phone glued to her ear as she strutted toward the security checkpoint, bypassing the entire line, At first, Emily thought maybe she was airport staff or some kind of VIP. But then she saw the unmistakable flicker of entitlement in the woman's posture. She wasn't supposed to be skipping the line. She had just decided she was more important than everyone else. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A father juggling a restless toddler scowled. An elderly couple exchanged looks of disbelief. A group of college students, eyes bleary from an early flight, whispered in irritation. Did she just? One of them started. She totally did. Emily clenched her jaw. No one was saying anything to her. The woman was banking on that, on people being too polite, too exhausted, or too passive to call her out. She sauntered up to the nearest TSA agent like she belonged at the front, exuding the kind of unearned confidence only someone used to never hearing no could possess. "Hi, yes, I just need to get through quickly," she announced, not even sparing the agent a full glance. "My flight is in 10 minutes. A lie. Emily knew it. The woman's ticket was still clutched in her hand, boarding time a full 45 minutes away. The TSA agent, young and slightly hesitant, glanced at the long line behind her. "Ma'am, you'll need to—" "Oh, I have TSA pre-check," she interrupted, waving vaguely. Another lie. If she had pre-check, she would have been in the dedicated lane on the other side of the terminal. The agent hesitated. Emily could see it happening, the moment of doubt, the internal battle between enforcing rules and avoiding confrontation with an entitled traveler who knew exactly how to manipulate people. "No, she doesn't." Emily's voice rang out, louder than she'd intended. The woman turned, eyes sharp with irritation. For the first time she actually looked at Emily. "Excuse me?" Emily took a small step forward, heart hammering but resolve firm. "You don't have TSA pre-check. If you did, you'd be over there." She gestured to the clearly marked lane on the opposite side of security. "And your flight isn't in 10 minutes. It boards in 45. The woman's lips curled into a forced, saccharine smile. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. Wow. You must be so fun at parties. A few chuckles rippled through the line. Someone muttered, "She got you there." The TSA agent, emboldened, straightened his posture. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to return to the back of the line." The woman exhaled dramatically, as if deeply inconvenienced by people daring to hold her accountable. "Oh, come on. I have a medical condition. I can't stand in line that long." Another lie. Emily could see it in the way she carried herself. No discomfort, no visible strain. Just the smug expectation that she could throw out any excuse and get her way. A TSA supervisor, an older man with a no-nonsense air, stepped forward. "If you have a medical condition, ma'am, you should have requested assistance from the airline. Otherwise, you'll need to wait like everyone else." The woman's eye twitched. Her gaze flickered to the growing number of people watching her. She knew she was losing. But instead of backing down, she scoffed, tossing a look of pure disdain at Emily. "I don't have time for this." And then, she just kept walking, right past the security checkpoint, right through the metal detectors as if the rules didn't apply to her at all. Emily's breath caught. No way. The line erupted into protest. "Hey! You can't just do that. Are you serious?" The supervisor barked. "Ma'am, you cannot." But the woman was already smugly sliding her purse onto the conveyor belt, as if she had won. Emily wasn't about to let that happen. Not this time. The moment Karen waltzed past security like she owned the place, the tension in the air thickened. A chorus of frustrated voices rose behind her, but she didn't so much as flinch. She had already decided the rules didn't apply to her, and the worst part? It looked like she might get away with it. Emily felt a sharp pulse of irritation. This wasn't just about a skipped line. It was about entitlement, about someone deciding they were more important than everyone else. It was about the exhausted father still bouncing his toddler on his hip, the elderly couple shifting on aching feet, the dozens of travelers who followed the rules while Karen breezed through on nothing but audacity. The TSA supervisor had stepped forward, but even he hesitated. Karen had done something bold, something people didn't usually try. She had forced her way through instead of asking. She had left them standing there, daring them to stop her. For a split second, Emily thought they might let her go. Then the agent at the X-ray machine called over his shoulder. "Sir? We gotta..." The supervisor was already moving. Karen, oblivious or pretending to be, removed her designer sunglasses and placed them on a bin, along with her oversized purse. As she unzipped her carry-on, she made a point of not looking back. She had won and she knew it. Or at least she thought she had. The supervisor strode forward, voice firm. "Ma'am, step aside." Karen froze, the first flicker of uncertainty flashing across her carefully composed face. "Excuse me?" "I said step aside." The agent didn't raise his voice, but there was steel in it. "You bypass security screening. That's a violation of TSA policy." Karen let out a sharp, incredulous laugh. "Are you serious? It's not that big of a deal. I was right there, I wasn't going to wait in that ridiculous line just to..." "It's not optional," the agent cut in. "Everyone is required to go through security screening. You didn't." Karen scoffed, shaking her head like this was some minor misunderstanding. "Oh my God. You're acting like I did something criminal." The supervisor's expression didn't change. Refusing to comply with TSA procedures can result in being denied boarding. "Now, if you don't step aside, we'll have to involve airport security." A flicker of real fear flashed across Karen's face. She was still standing on the public side of the checkpoint. If she was escorted out, there was no getting through to her gate. For the first time she looked back toward the line. The travelers she had ignored now stared openly, their collective irritation palpable. She wasn't getting away with this quietly. But Karen wasn't the type to admit defeat. She let out a dramatic sigh, shaking her head in exasperation. "Fine. Whatever. Do your little security check. I don't have time for this, but if it'll make you feel like a big man, knock yourself out." She stepped aside with mocking patience, her expression daring them to inconvenience her further. The supervisor signaled to another agent, and a new protocol kicked into place. *** secondary screening. ***. Emily watched, satisfied but intrigued. Karen thought this would be a quick fix, a mild inconvenience at worst. But she didn't realize something. She had just made exactly the kind of mistake that would cost her more time than if she had just followed the rules in the first place. An agent approached, gloved hands at the ready. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to conduct a full-body screening." Karen's expression cracked. "You have got to be joking." The agent remained professional. "Since you bypassed the initial screening, we have to do a manual check. Please step this way." Karen huffed dramatically but complied, stepping onto the marked space. The travelers behind the security line were no longer just annoyed, they were enjoying this. Someone murmured, "Well, well, well." Another stifled a laugh. Emily crossed her arms, watching as Karen's arrogance slowly began to unravel. But then she noticed something else. Karen had placed her oversized purse on the conveyor belt. It was bulky, overstuffed, the kind of bag that definitely should have been checked. As it rolled toward the X-ray scanner, the agent monitoring the screen suddenly paused. His eyebrows lifted slightly. He adjusted the angle, peering closer. Emily didn't know what was inside, but she recognized that look. The look of someone finding something they weren't expecting. Karen was still ranting. "You people take your jobs way too seriously. I mean, really, what do you think I have? Some kind of..." Beep. The belt stopped moving. Karen turned at the sound, and for the first time she looked worried. The conveyor belt's sudden halt sent a ripple of tension through the security checkpoint. Travelers shuffled impatiently, but those closest to the scene, Emily included, leaned in, watching as the TSA agent studying the X-ray screen stiffened. His hand hovered over a button, his eyes narrowing at whatever he saw inside Karen's oversized designer purse. Karen, still standing with her arms outstretched as the pat-down continued, barely noticed at first. She was too busy sighing dramatically, her exasperation practically radiating from her posture. "Can we move this along?" she huffed. "I have a flight to catch." The agent ignored her. Instead, he lifted his radio. "We need a bag check at lane 4. That got her attention. Karen's head snapped toward the conveyor belt. She followed the agent's gaze to her purse, still sitting halfway through the scanner. "Wait, what?" A second agent, stockier and older, stepped forward. He pulled on a fresh pair of gloves and gestured toward the bag. "Is this yours, ma'am?" Karen hesitated. Emily caught the fleeting look in her eyes, something between annoyance and fear. It was the first time Karen looked genuinely unsure of herself. Yes, obviously. She let out a breathy, forced laugh. Oh my God, is this really happening? It's just a bag. The agent didn't so much as blink. Step over here, please. We need to conduct a manual search. Karen didn't move. Ma'am, he said again, firmer this time. She let out a bitter little scoff and stormed toward the table where her bag now sat. The other agent finished the pat-down, nodding that she was clear, but Karen hardly noticed. Her focus was locked on her purse and the agent carefully unzipping it. Emily watched, pulse picking up. What was inside? One by one the agent began removing items. A jumbo-sized bottle of expensive perfume. Well over the liquid limit. He set it aside. A metal hairbrush with an oversized, decorative handle, enough to flag the system. A portable power bank that violated TSA guidelines, also set aside. Karen's confidence began to crumble. Oh, come on, she muttered. This is ridiculous. The agent ignored her, still searching. His gloved hands moved deeper into the bag. Then he paused. Karen stiffened. The moment stretched, thick with silent anticipation. The agent pulled out a sealed plastic bag, small, transparent, and holding something Karen clearly hadn't expected to be found. Her entire body went rigid. Emily couldn't see what it was from her angle, but whatever it was, Karen saw it. And for the first time since she shoved her way to the front of the line, she looked genuinely afraid. The agent turned the bag over in his hands, inspecting the contents. Then, in a calm but authoritative voice, he asked, "Ma'am, can you explain this?" Karen's reaction was instant, and sloppy. She lurched forward, reaching for the bag like she could somehow snatch it away before anyone else got a good look. The agent pulled back, holding it out of reach. "Ma'am?" His tone was sharp now, and another TSA officer took a quiet but deliberate step closer. Karen's face drained of color. "That's not," she started, then stopped herself. Emily could see the battle happening behind her eyes. Panic. Calculation. Damage control. ***. Then Karen forced a fake brittle laugh. "Oh, come on, this is so stupid. That's just," she hesitated a fraction of a second too long. "That's just my personal medication." The agent raised an eyebrow. "You keep your medication in an unlabeled, sealed bag?" Karen's mouth opened, then closed. "I'm going to have to call for additional screening," the agent said, signaling to another officer. "Please stay where you are." Karen snapped. "Are you serious right now?" she shrieked, her carefully maintained composure shattering. "I am a paying customer. This is harassment." A hush fell over the nearby travelers, all now openly watching. A man 2 lanes over actually set down his bag to enjoy the show. Karen's tantrum only escalated. "You people are on a power trip. This is exactly why no one respects the TSA. You're all a bunch of—" "Ma'am," the supervisor cut in, his voice flat, "I suggest you stop talking." The way he said it, calm, unbothered, and entirely in control, was like pouring gasoline on a fire. Karen boiled over. This is insane. She spun, wild-eyed, looking for someone, anyone, to back her up. But every face she turned to either looked disinterested or entirely too entertained. She landed on Emily. "You," she snarled, stepping forward. Emily blinked. "Me? This is your fault." Karen's voice was low and venomous. "You started this. You just couldn't keep your little mouth shut, could you?" Emily tilted her head. "You mean when I pointed out that you skipped the entire line? Or when I noticed you lied about TSA pre-check? Or," she nodded toward the plastic bag still in the agent's hand, "when they found that?" Karen's eye twitched. The supervisor cleared his throat. "Ma'am, you need to step aside while we verify this item. If you continue to cause a disturbance, we'll have to escalate this situation further." Karen seethed, nostrils flaring, but she saw it now. There was no way out of this. She wasn't walking away unscathed. And Emily? She was enjoying every second of it. Karen stood frozen, her manicured fingers curled into fists, her breath coming in short, angry bursts. The security checkpoint was silent, save for the low murmur of TSA officers coordinating next steps. Every eye in the vicinity was locked on her, not in admiration or sympathy, but in something colder, heavier. Judgment. The supervisor studied her carefully, his face unreadable. "Ma'am, please step over here." Karen didn't move. Her gaze flicked to the sealed plastic bag still clutched in the agent's gloved hands. Whatever was inside, it was something she did not want TSA examining. "I don't have time for this," she snapped. "This is absurd. It's just a mistake." The agent arched a brow. Then you won't mind explaining it. Karen's nostrils flared. She was trapped. She could argue. She could scream. But she couldn't walk away. Not this time. The supervisor took a step closer. Ma'am, we're going to take this item for testing. If it's what you claim, you'll be free to go. If not, he didn't finish the sentence. You didn't have to. Karen's entire demeanor shifted. She wasn't just angry anymore. She was calculating. Her eyes darted toward her bag, the purse still sitting open, gaping like an exposed wound. And then, she lunged, It happened so fast Emily almost missed it. Karen snatched for the plastic bag, her fingers barely grazing the agent's wrist before. Ma'am, step back. 2 TSA officers blocked her instantly, one gripping her arm, the other shifting into her path. The terminal gasped. A few travelers whispered while others openly gawked. Karen stumbled back, her face wild with fury. You can't touch me. You attempted to seize a screened item, the supervisor said, his voice cool. That's a violation of airport security policy. Karen knew. She knew she had just made things so much worse. Her breathing came fast and shallow now, panic rising to the surface. This wasn't a game anymore. There was no walking away. A voice crackled over the supervisor's radio. Airport security had been called. Karen's face drained of color. The weight of what was happening finally hit her. She had pushed her luck too far. She had lied. She had cheated. She had broken the rules, and now there were consequences. Emily watched it all unfold, arms crossed, expression unreadable. There was no satisfaction in watching someone's world crumble, but there was something poetic about watching an entitled person finally realize they weren't invincible. And then, like an injured animal, Karen turned on her last, desperate instinct, deflection. This is her fault. She whirled toward Emily, eyes blazing. She's the one who started this. She was harassing me. She set me up. Emily blinked. Set you up? She's been watching me since I got here. Karen accused, her voice climbing higher. She followed me through security trying to make a scene. She's obsessed with me. Emily let out a slow, incredulous breath. You cut an entire security line and walked through a checkpoint without clearance. But sure. Let's say I set you up. Karen was unraveling. She had nothing left. And then, security arrived. 2 uniformed officers approached, their expressions unreadable, their hands resting lightly on their belts. One of them, a stocky man with a no-nonsense expression, nodded to the TSA supervisor. What's the situation? The supervisor handed over the sealed plastic bag. She bypassed security, then became aggressive when we attempted to screen her items. The officer took the bag, turning it over in his fingers. His eyes narrowed slightly. He nodded toward Karen. Ma'am, is this yours? Karen's hands twitched. I don't, she stammered. The officer let out a slow breath, as if he had seen this exact scenario 100 times before. He signaled to his partner. Let's take this to secondary screening. No. Karen burst out. I didn't. But the officers were already moving. The stocky officer looked at Karen one last time. Ma'am, you'll need to come with us. Karen froze. Then she did the thing that everyone was waiting for. She snapped. I am a victim. This is a setup. I demand to speak to someone in charge. I am a loyal customer. The officers weren't listening. One gently took her by the arm. Karen jerked away, but it didn't matter. She wasn't going anywhere except where they led her. Emily watched in stunned silence as Karen was escorted away, her voice still rising in furious, empty protests. And then, the terminal erupted into quiet, amused applause. Not loud. Not mocking. Just a silent agreement among every weary traveler who had witnessed the entire disaster. Emily smirked, shaking her head. Justice had been served. She stepped forward, grabbing her own bag from the conveyor belt, heart still pounding with the aftershock of the chaos. As she walked toward her gate, she checked her phone. A message popped up in the airport's public group chat. Someone had recorded the entire incident. And it was already going viral.